your torch and dip it into the sexy St. Jeff candle. No Buffs is back. I'm J.E. Skeets here in the Classic Factory, along with my fellow tribe members. Two people who have water skied in Michigan and Minnesota. It's Nora and JD.
Neither.
No.
Just
JD,
Ontario.
You love being on the water.
I do. I love water skiing. Just Ontario and the Bahamas, actually, I just realized.
Oh, okay.
I'm a
Humble brag.
International water skiing man over
Yes,
here.
yes.
Classic.
We are here to recap episode 7 of Survivor 48, titled Survivor Smack Talk. And we're joined by a very special guest today, a guy who's talked a little smack of his own out on the island. He was one of last season's most memorable characters. It's Rome Cooney of Survivor 47. There he is. Rome, what's up, man?
Not much, it's awesome to be here. Skeets, Nora, JD, thank you very much for having me on. You guys have an awesome podcast going. You guys were definitely one of the ones that I listened to the entirety throughout my whole season. It was absolutely awesome. You guys are hilarious, and I was like, you know what, I got to get on this podcast for sure. To help recap 48. So I'm here now. I'm taking Trey's place. We'll see if I can bring the same entertainment level or not.
Hey,
we'll see.
Well, you're off to a great start here. We got a lot of questions for you about your season, about boot orders, about Survivor 50 rumors, and so on. But
we gonna get into the juicy stuff now.
why not?
Why not? That's what we're here for.
What's Jeff Probst gonna do to us?
Yeah.
But let's start by dissecting last night's episode. That's what we do here on No Buffs, and we'll obviously get Rome's thoughts on all of these scenes and what happened last night. Double elimination, so we've got 2 people unfortunately going home. But we start night 13, post-tribal council. Charity has been voted out.
Right.
And we have a new merged tribe name.
Yeah, they just kind of throw it up there.
It's spelled Niunai. I think you pronounce it Yonai.
Oh.
That's my Chinese. Not well, but I believe it's a Chinese translation for cow's milk.
The dairy farmers have to be stopped.
Rome, what is going on with the dairy farmers pushing milk in this season of Survivor 48?
I have no idea. I do know that, David is obviously a big milk connoisseur. He does mostly chocolate, as he says, but, I guess all milk will do. And, it was probably a situation where nobody really cared too much about what the merged tribe name was, and David maybe asked someone, hey, what's milk in in another language, and they were able to help him out. Maybe, who knows, because I don't know if he knew that off the top. If he looked up what milk was in Fijian before going out there, props to you, David. Honestly, wouldn't put it past him at this point. He might know milk in every language just in case he has to go out to another country or something.
I know, that's how much this guy loves milk. He knows how to say it in every language. Yeah. So I think I saw Mary tweet something about they had a bunch of other names that got shot down.
Okay.
And then they somehow pivoted to the Chinese translation. This isn't even Fijian for cow's milk.
Incredible.
With the idea that maybe they would get Chinese subtitles on CBS so Mary's parents could follow. It's an insane story here.
Far more convoluted than I expected.
Yeah.
I didn't see all this stuff.
Yeah, but
I just saw some
Yonai.
Twitter chat about this.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
So
Milk,
that's
again, the extra tribe mate on this episode.
I know. You imagine Milk wins Survivor 48? That's what happens in the end.
Most valuable player.
We just give it to a cow, comes in, and Probst gives them the $1 million check. Okay, so here's what's happening. We got Mitch. He's a little upset. He thought the vote was going to be 12-1 on Say. Now he's questioning every conversation. He goes and talks to Say about voting for her. He sort of does the whole thing where he explains, hey, it wasn't my idea. I sort of got tricked by everyone, sort of just went with the flow. That's why I voted for you. She doesn't really buy it, at least in confessional, and tells us, come on, this guy's voted for me twice.
Right.
I thought was a good sport about him telling her what, his explanation was, but whatever. She's sort of rolling her eyes. And then we get Cedric here, Rome, trying to find out the lone vote on him. And he is convinced it's a woman's penmanship. He has that. He's figured out that clue. Yep. But he doesn't think it's really Say because he's seen how she has done her votes before. And then she tells us, yeah, I switched up my handwriting, cursive handwriting. I know we have questions about this in Tree Mail, but was that a thing that was going on and actually was implemented? And what are your thoughts of that as a gameplay sort of thing?
I feel like with this specific instance, I mean, if we remember, they went to a tribal where it was only the two of them that voted multiple times. So when you see your handwriting, you're going to know the other handwriting is Say's, right? So Cedric has seen her handwriting multiple times in the same tribal council. So I think it's just a case of knowing exactly how she's going to write her letters, because he's seen her write down a name, I think, 7 times at this point.
Wow.
6, it might be 6. I think 6 times actually at this point. Yeah, he's seen maybe 7. Honestly, it's a lot. Either way, she's been to tribal a lot. So Cedric at this point knows kind of how she writes. So I think that seeing it in cursive threw him for a little bit of a loop. But at the end of the day, I think he was able to figure it out with everybody else. So.
Yeah. Well, we go to day 14 here. Shauhin and Joe, they're trying to smooth things over with Mitch, and they're by the water well, and we get Mitch sharing his story with them, and we learn a little bit more about Mitch. We know he's a PE coach, and we know he's sort of a teacher now, but we learn he quit his profession as a mailman Mitch.
I wish we had mailman Mitch.
Yeah. And then, so they're like, wow, that's pretty crazy. And his reason is sort of wild too. He's like, I didn't really think I was doing all that much as a mailman.
Absolutely.
With my story and wanting to impact people. That was pretty cool.
It just adds to the likability of Mitch.
Yeah.
And as I was watching this scene, you could see Shauhin and Joe, the calculations in their brain where they were like, this guy's kind of amazing. Like, he's so likable.
Exactly.
He's so good at challenges. Shaheen's like, oh, yeah, you did that? Why did you do that? He's like, well, it just felt like I wasn't doing enough with my story and I could do more. And they were like, oh, wow, man. And they're like, damn it.
Yeah.
This guy's amazing.
We got to get rid of this guy.
This is a problem.
Return to sender on Mitch. Because, even Joe in a confessional room says, like, I like Mitch. What's not to like about the guy, but maybe that's an issue, and is starting to see him as a huge threat. I think this is funny on the heels of Joe, last week?
Right.
Really leaning into the honor and integrity and the no lying on Survivor, and that's how we're going to play. And then, well, actually, you're playing Survivor here, Joe. This is what you should do. He's a threat. Maybe you focus on him. But what was your takeaway, Rom?
Honestly, my take on this was that, oh man, when it comes to Mitch in this situation, like, they're looking at him like, yes, you have a great story. He even says it didn't, my story wasn't all there. And I don't know if he was talking about like his life story in general or his literal Survivor story, because like he said, he's been trying to get on Survivor for a long time. So maybe if, the story that you have hasn't got you on so far, maybe that's what he was talking about. I was actually wondering which one you guys thought he was more talking about, whether it was like his life story, like his life direction, or literally his Survivor story.
Wow, that's
interesting.
interesting. I guess I took it as his life
Personal
story.
story. I did not interpret it. I think it'd be a bit diabolical to be thinking about your Survivor story, but
That's next level,
That
though.
is next level.
All he said was his story. That's why, I was like, that's an interesting way to talk about your life. Normally you say, like, my life journey or my life, that's just an interesting way to talk about yourself.
JD, you have a read on that if you had to pick? Or how did you feel?
Mitch is such a genuine, sweet guy. I feel like he's just, and he said in his confessional, I'm just trying to build trust. He doesn't really have anything. Well, he had the block vote, but he really was just trying to, he said in his confessional that he was just trying to build trust and stuff, and just said, hey, I used to be a postman. Now I'm a teacher or coach or whatever. And how he took a big pay cut for that. And but I was just like, Mitch, please stop talking.
Yeah.
Please stop. Like, you're digging your own grave here. Twice in this episode. I thought Chrissy was digging her own grave later on in the episode. But yeah, just stop. Just, and I agree with you, Nora. Like, just the wheels turning and going, hey, Joe's going, I'm the hero of this season. I'm the man that everyone's going to look up to. And then Mitch comes in and is stealing his thunder a bit.
Well,
but we can't knock Mitch for just talking about his own life and for it being an incredible story. Like him being able to get on Survivor and do what he's doing, to be able to excel in the challenges the way that he's doing, also to be able to, help out kids back home. Like, I mean, literally the guy's life story is awesome at this point. So I kind of understand what they're saying. Like, he is a big threat, but also he's just talking about himself and his life. So I think it is definitely an interesting fine line where, like, talking about yourself and just being who you are can kind of dig you into a hole, because people realize, oh man, if I'm sitting against you at the end, it's going to be hard to get a vote on my end compared to your end. Do you see, I mean, maybe not in the new era, Rome, but like,
are people out there for almost two different reasons? Like, do you see people are out there just to almost share their story and be an inspiration? Or is it like, no, this is a game for $1 million and that's the real reason I want to win Soul Survivor?
I never felt that personally. Like,
Okay.
I would hope that everyone goes out there and is trying to play, as hard as possible and, is playing the game. And, if something else comes because of that, like if a greater story becomes that, like naturally, I think that's cool. But like,
Right.
I don't think you should be going out there like force a narrative or like force, something that just isn't naturally going to happen because of Survivor. Like a lot of times Survivor will put you through the ringer. You're out there starving. We don't get rice in the new era, so if you don't win any food rewards, you're just sitting there losing weight all day. So it's definitely it puts you through the ringer. So if you're able to have some experiences out there and go through these hardships and have some natural epiphany or phenomenon out there like we've seen so many times on Survivor, then I think that's a lot better than if anyone were to try going out there for other reasons other than just trying to play hard and win the million.
Maybe what about Banu? Banu was trying to win
$1 million
hearts,
That's
and maybe
true.
not the $1 million.
Did he do it? Do we think he won $1 million hearts?
No, not $1 million.
Banu's an interesting character. I don't know if he won 1 million hearts. He might have won like 50,000.
Yeah.
So he,
I'll give him that.
yeah, at least he got some. He got a huge edit, got a lot of airtime. So, salute to Banu.
Yeah.
But he was definitely an interesting character on Survivor for sure.
All right, let's keep moving here. We have on day 14, we have Say deciding to socialize with the people she thinks have power in this game. She's targeting Shauhin. She sees him as a power player. He has an interesting read on her. I thought I liked this scene a lot, like them conversing there. He was sitting on the log and she's down in the sand. And his takeaway, he sort of feels like he gets Say's MO, and that is, do not be fake.
Right.
She hates fake. You're real with her. You're good with her. But that's how you have to approach her. So that was fascinating. And then we see Mitch, Say, Cedric, all one-on-one conversations with Shauhin. And he's feeling pretty good in control of where he stands in the game. I wrote down in my notes, Rome, famous last words.
Yeah.
We see it time and time again, yourself included, where you get that edit of like, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm
Right.
sort of rolling right now. I'm running things. Shauhin obviously last this episode, but do you see Shauhin as one of the power players now that they have sort of, merged as one?
I found it interesting that he said that, any vote that happens has to go through me at the start of the episode. And then at the end of the episode, he was like thinking it's either him or like it's a 50-50, So it's just funny how things can change in a day on Survivor. So after this vote, no. I mean, if you're the decoy vote, you're not one of the power players because, you weren't the person coming up with the decoy vote plan. So
Yeah.
I think that the people coming up with the decoy vote plan are the power players. So I believe that that's what Kyle, Camilla, and I believe that I forgot who else was the ones that came up with the decoy plan, but I think it was them too.
Yeah,
so,
those were the
Kyle
leaders.
Camilla.
Yeah.
I would say they're probably the power players out of that group. But I mean, it was a split. They split up, so it's definitely definitely interesting.
Was that one of the most infuriating parts of playing Survivor? The idea like plan is formulated, plan is in action, we've decided, here we go, and then I don't know, you go down to just like wash something in the ocean, you come back 15 minutes later and it's completely changed. Like that would drive me nuts. And I don't know how much that happened with you, or maybe plans stuck a lot longer. It's that idea of like just always changing and you're like, oh God, that would be so maddening.
The last hour before the Keyshawn vote was probably the craziest hour of my Survivor experience. Pretty much an hour before Tribal, that was when I gave Saul the ultimatum, not the threat, just an ultimatum. Gave him the ultimatum to give me the shot in the dark. He declined it. And he declined it, and he immediately got up and started walking around to look for an idol. He's like, "Well, I'm just gonna go look for an idol if since I'm not gonna give it to you." And I'm like, "All right, well, I'm gonna follow you around. Like, let's go." So I followed him. It literally only lasted for like 3-4 minutes that I actually walked around with him, because once he realized I was gonna follow him for real, like he just didn't, he didn't actually try to go look anymore. So then we went back down to the beach, right? I go for a walk, right? A quick walk. I'm thinking, Saul didn't give me a shot in the dark, but it's all good because we're still gonna vote out Saul tonight anyway. 1 in 6 chance that it is what it is. I come back from a walk, and all of a sudden I just hear absolute madness, I hear that because of the little thing that I told Genevieve about Keyshawn wanting to tell Saul that Genevieve was the decoy vote, Genevieve now is like, hold on, Keyshawn wants to now go for you, Rome, but I don't want you out of this game, and I want to go for Keyshawn instead. And I'm sitting here like, why would Keyshawn go against this alliance that we have? I was so confused because I was like, it's signed, sealed, delivered. We're good to go. Yeah. We also, like, you know, if he doesn't play his shot in the dark, I can use my steal a vote to guarantee that, you know, that he doesn't have a shot in the dark to play. So it's a signed, sealed, delivered, guaranteed vote that we have. So I was so confused, like, and that's why, like, that was the wildest hour, because it went from Saul being the guaranteed vote to all of a sudden me being the plan to all of a sudden, because then Teeny came back and she didn't have a vote. So it was just like, okay, now we know that he's going to be in completely control everything in this last hour. So much information happened in that last situation.
Oh my God.
And it was a live tribal. That's the other thing. The live tribal got cut out because I had to get up and walk around and make sure that everybody was on the same page. Wow. So I literally got up and talked to Genevieve. I talked to Saul. I talked to Keyshawn as well. And I even said, Keyshawn, like, I don't need to play my steal vote on Saul, right? And he was like, no, we're good. And I'm like, okay, you're telling me I don't need to play my steal. Okay, you were really planning on voting for me, word. And then 20 seconds later, I got up and stole his vote. So yeah, but that got cut out. I don't know why, but like, yeah, it was a pretty fun live tribal.
Along those same lines, can you deny a request from producers to go do a confessional, especially as you get into those couple of hours leading up to tribal? Because, like, I've heard before, like, I don't want to leave the beach. I don't want to leave this, because if I do, they could start obviously talking about some other plan, and that maybe includes voting out me. Or is that like, you gotta go type thing? Yeah,
I mean, do you really want to be the person to, you know, not do what production says? That's how I see it, you know, like I'm sorry, like, when you get out there as a player, like, it is truly unfathomable how hard these producers work, how many cameramen there are, how many people are constantly up with you 24 hours, how many people are staring at you with a camera at 3 a.m. with an infrared light right in your face. Like, it's crazy. The work that they do, and I'm sitting here getting an advantage and running through the forest. These dudes with these big old cameras are sitting here run after me. And I'm just sitting here in awe, and I kept telling them, like, I appreciate you guys for doing all this hard work. Like, I'm sorry for looking for an idol so much, because you guys are sweating bullets trying to catch up with me. And so yeah, I just gotta say, like, if production says do something, just do it. So if it's your turn for a walk, just go for a walk. You know.
All right, good to know.
They work way too hard to be the person to rebel against them.
That's why it's one of the greatest shows of all time. I understand. All right, well, let's go to the immunity challenge here. This is going to be one where you have to hold on to the bucket. I believe it's filled with sand, which has 25% of your pregame body weight. They've been out there 2 weeks. Which you could lose a lot of weight in 2 weeks when you're not eating much. We're randomly divided into 2 groups of 6. We got 2 immunity necklaces up for grabs. So 2 people will be voted out tonight. Also playing for reward, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Hold on.
You have to say it how
do
they
it
said
yourself.
DIY.
Peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
Afternoon.
Yes.
Do it yourself, peanut butter and jelly afternoon. What?
And then chips and juice are thrown in there. Bonus is the winning group gets to go second, which will deliver the first jury member. So, you know, that first group that goes will not ultimately have that person that gets voted out on the jury member. It breaks out like this. Orange is Star, Joe, Mitch, Chrissy, Eva, and Say, and then purple's Kyle, Shauhin, Cedric, Mary, David, and Camilla. Cedric, our guy.
Poor guy.
Drops within 15 seconds of putting his hands on the grip bar there.
Yeah.
Even, like, everyone seemed shocked, Rome. Like, there was a shot of Mary, like, shaking her head.
Yeah.
I think Probst was even surprised, like, it was already over.
I mean,
it was
because
weird.
it's like, you know you're going out on Survivor, so, like, you'd think that, like, you know, like, you know, at least be trying to be. I don't know what he was doing before to prep, but you think you'd be prepping a little bit more to be a little bit better in these challenges, because I'm not gonna lie, record-wise, he might go down as the worst challenge performer of all time. Like, what was the 0-7 in immunity challenges?
Yeah.
Wow.
Like,
yeah, he was.
And he went out first. Like, I don't think he won anything. So it's like, I don't know.
Cedric.
I don't know. He might have won one. I don't really remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't really recall. But yeah, that's a tough one, man. It's just like, you see somebody already struggling, and then it's like, you hope, okay, maybe this is the one that they can do a little bit better on, and then they drop first again, and it's just like, dang. It's just like, you want to be proud of them, and then it's just like, dang, it's just like, let you down again.
The
you know,
only thing I could think of was, like, sweaty palms.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right,
just
maybe.
not grip strength.
Or not grip strength, but 15 seconds of not grip strength.
Or he just, wasn't prepared for the weight.
Yeah, who
Who
knows?
knows?
Who knows?
Cedric, holler at us. Let
Yeah.
us know what happened. I'm sorry
Yeah.
Jeff was so mean to you.
Well, I don't even think Jeff. Well, I guess he
Jeff
did.
was like, he
got
didn't
in
even
some
make it
barbs.
20 seconds.
Yeah, he got in some barbs, but like he almost played it. He was sort of kind with him, I thought.
You think?
He'd be like, "What are you doing?"
He loves to roast Cedric.
He
Yeah.
does. Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
it's-
when people make it 180 times further than you in a challenge,
Yeah.
I think that Jeff has the right
I
to roast
sort of
Right.
do too.
100%.
I sort of do. I
So,
mean,
yeah.
you're kicking a guy while he's down, sure, but that was pretty pathetic. So we start doing the challenge here. The women eventually start dropping here. Eva's the only one left. Purple, it's David and Kyle. Orange, it's Eva and Joe. And then we get a whole lot actually in this endurance challenge. We get, to quote Jeff, the montage of smack talk. It's time. Cue the music. And Shauhin gives us the music. He does the which they then remix, which was so good.
It sounded so good.
It did, and they like kept using the clip. So that's one whole part. Then we have a other segment where it's like Body by Jeff fitness program talk. That was fun. There's a callback to Kyle's callus / wart.
Yes.
Yeah.
That goes on. Eva finally drops after an incredible 15 plus minutes. Kyle decides he can't beat David. He drops. It's Joe versus David, and they eclipse Gabler's all-time record for this challenge of 38 minutes. So they blow by that, and I think it's Mitch that says, "Rome, we're playing Survivor with superheroes,"
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it was tough not to think that with these two guys just continuing to hold on.
Yeah.
Then
you
we
can
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, you can hear even the music, it's playing the most heroic music I've ever heard on Survivor. I'm like, man, they are making this really seem like Captain America versus The Rock.
Yeah.
This is really they're really doing it right now. So props to the producers, because this whole segment they absolutely crushed it from Shauhin. And the cool thing is that music that they used was actually previously used on Survivor. It was in Survivor 45. Someone already fact checked this. So
wow.
it was in
Wow.
Survivor 45 during Tribal Council when people were voting. So when Jeff asked to if anyone has an advantage. So, which is kind of crazy that he was able to actually essentially do a Survivor beat that's already been used. That was pretty awesome. So, yeah.
Yeah, this thing goes so long that I almost forgot this part where Probst just starts cutting
PR.
apply to be on Survivor promos along with Kyle's help, I guess that was.
Yeah, Survivor's not easy. Apply now.
Yeah, he just did it all in this, and then Joe finally drops at nearly the hour mark. David wins food for the purple group, and obviously consoles Joe a little bit.
Right.
But he is Joe's pretty pissed because that guy wanted to eat.
Joe seemed very defeated by the end of this.
Yeah. Are you a fan of endurance challenges, Rome?
Oh, I love them.
Yeah,
I love
so do
them.
I.
I wish I would have got to one, absolutely love them. It's something that I trained for, I got my grip strength.
Oh,
Wow.
I got my pull-up bar, you know what I'm saying, right there. I can do 4-finger pull-ups right now. I can do crank out
Jesus.
5 of them. I work on my
ready.
grip strength and things like that. So I was ready for endurance challenges, and unfortunately I was literally as close as you could possibly be to doing an individual immunity challenge.
Which endurance challenge that we've seen over the years of Survivor would you have most liked to have done or think you would have done the best at?
The one where you're hanging on a pole.
Hanging on a pole, yeah.
Yeah, I would have sat up there and just said, "Jeff, what's the record? I'm breaking it. Let's just do it right now. It's happening."
Wow.
I would have told him before it started. Everybody else can slide down. Let's just go for the record.
Calling his Babe Ruth shot.
Love the confidence.
Yeah, hey, look, I love it too. Any thoughts, JD, on this obviously immunity / reward challenge and how the editors had some fun with it and all that happened within it?
Yeah, it was great. I thought it went on a very long time.
It did.
I thought of my friend Derek Carkner, who would have loved all the flexing and the
Oh, yeah.
you know,
A lot of body shots.
yeah, a lot, yeah. It's a very sexy scene, I have to say.
There go those guys. Those guys drink a lot of milk.
They drink a lot of
Turns out
milk.
it
Yeah,
works.
another ad for milk.
Yeah.
I did, as Rome just said, Rome, you said you would say, guys, you might as well step off. I'm good. David basically said the same thing to Joe. He was like, hey man, I'm good. Basically,
You're sort of wasting your energy.
I thought he was being nice, actually, but then the peanut gallery took offense to it, and they're like, "I think Joe's just fine," and I'm like,
Well, yeah, they wanted him
Is
to
he?
win so he
Yeah.
can get
fair
food.
enough,
Yeah.
fair enough." And then there was the great the the literal and figurative flex when they're like, "Hey, you're slipping a little bit," and David just like does the handlebars. Oh, it was so good, so good. I know people were kind of annoyed by that and thought he was being cocky, but I thought it was great. Like
that's not being cocky. People are questioning you, and you're sitting here wondering, what are you talking about? Like, look at this. Like, I have complete control. I'm fine. Like, I think honestly, in situations like that, let him set a new record. Let him literally go as long as humanly possible.
Right.
Y'all have nothing to do the rest of the day. If he can go 3 hours, let it happen. Let that be the new record, because now it's just about when the second place person drops, not about when. You know what I'm saying? When the first place person, because like how long could a Gabler went? We don't know. So it's like, things like that.
But even his own team by then would be like, David, we got peanut butter sandwiches waiting for us.
Well, I mean, there's been like historic Survivor challenges, endurance challenges that have gone like 10 plus hours.
Yeah.
Into the night where they got to light the torches in the water, all that.
I mean, that's incredible, but they've sort of gone away from those type of challenges because you could get why they screw up production and all that.
Totally.
And it's not great TV.
And it is great TV.
But they have to edit it all down.
Yeah,
I mean.
yeah, it's not good for them just actually, I think, being out there. Probst is just
like, all right, let's chop this 8-hour segment completely, guys. Like,
right.
Here's what they should have done, though. Here's where Probst blew it last night. Once they beat Gabler's record, and I'm talking obviously David versus Joe, they eclipse, let's say, the 40-minute mark. Let's say even gets to 45, whatever. Why doesn't Probst go, hold on, I'll be right back? Goes to the back, comes back. 1 glass of milk to the guy that lets go of the rope. How much do you like milk, David?
Yeah.
Joe loves it too.
Imagine he just dropped it immediately.
He has like a gallon and he goes, here's the gallon, and then he starts pouring it out. So you're losing milk.
No. He stabs it with his knife.
Yeah.
It starts dribbling out.
Bagged milk. Canada, good Canada shutout.
Yeah.
I think if neither one of them budges for a cup of milk, then that's when he pulls out the Hershey syrup and starts pouring it in.
Yes.
What about some chocolate? What about
Diabolical.
That would have been pretty good TV. But anyway, props to David. He holds on, and Joe put up a fight, man. He wanted that food. He wanted to win it for his kids, but I think that guy was just really hungry.
Yeah,
he said it like 8 times. He's
he
like,
really wants
man,
to eat.
I would love to eat. So let's go to peanut butter jelly time. David wants to see Cedric go home. He's feeling pretty confident that'll be the case. Cedric is a little uneasy about his spot in this small tribe. Shauhin thinks easy target Cedric. But then we get Kyle here thinking, maybe it's time to target Shauhin. We're in a small tribe dynamic because of the split up. He's pretty sneaky. He went through my bag. He's pretty good at this game. He seems decent in a lot of the challenges. Like he's a gamer. So he starts kicking that around. This is while they're out there, peanut butter and jelly. He's telling us this is what he's thinking. And, we'll get a little bit more of this when he goes to Camilla, but how scared were you?
Well, you know how scared I was. You were sitting next to me and I was like, I don't like it. I'm scared.
You thought Kyle's like thinking this through.
Yes.
Formulating a plan to blindside Shauhin, was then going to get back
blown up
to Shauhin.
Absolutely.
And flipped onto Kyle, who's your pick to win it all.
Right.
Yes.
I was like, Kyle, okay, I like your idea. I also agree Shauhin is going to be a problem for you. Kyle is my winner pick. I want him to go far. But is this the time? I'm not sure, because Cedric is still here and I do not trust Cedric. Because my concern was he was going to go tell Cedric and Cedric was going to blow up this plan.
Sure. Yeah.
Anyway, so I was a little nervous at that point. Also, how did they not have milk at this reward? Sorry to go back.
Oh, God, yeah.
Peanut butter
Yeah.
and jelly and
You're
no milk?
100% right.
That's crazy.
They had juice. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
Juice?
You want to know what I was most shocked by out of everything with this reward is I was expecting a safety without power to be sent to the losing team, just like my season, because every single advantage and reward so far has lined up perfectly with 47, right? Like all 3 beaches started with Beware advantage, right? 2 tribes, 1 camp supplies at the first immunity challenge. Then all 3 players could get an advantage to go on a journey, right? Then 2 tribes, 1 fishing gear. This happened in both seasons. Then all 3 players got sent on a journey for an advantage without having a say. You know what I'm saying? And like who goes or whatever. Someone gets to pick, same as our season. Then 2 tribes, 1 a tarp at a challenge. two tribes, one food at a challenge. We got the chicken and the eggs, and then they got like fruit, right? So it was literally the exact same rewards and advantages. They had the merge scavenger hunt just like we did, right? Like hit the beach. Oh, so there's something hidden. And then at our feast, we had a safety without power hidden, but there was nothing at this one. So it made the obvious boot and say. Even Mary called it. She was like, "Oh, well, Say's going home tonight." Like, so it made it really obvious. So I'm sitting here like, "Oh man, there's going to be a safety without power. Someone's going to send it to Say. We're going to get an exciting tribal." But instead, it was like, no, that didn't happen. So I was just like confused. I was like, wait, why wasn't there an advantage at the feast? Like, it would have made a really interesting situation because in my opinion they obviously would have given it to Say the same way they obviously gave it to Rachel because it was an easy boot in that situation. So I was more shocked that there wasn't an advantage. I was looking for that.
Is it possible there was an advantage and they didn't find it?
It's possible.
That mat was so small. Like I rewound it and they are literally on a picnic basket. You got like 30 minutes to an hour to eat it. So like they're I'm sure they were looking, so I doubt it was there.
Can you remind me? Didn't Saul found his like in the pole?
It
or
was
something,
like a little,
like wrapped around.
It was in one of the four corners of the
tent
or canopy thing.
Yeah, okay, that's what it was, right? Yeah, that's a good point.
And then he pretended to go. He needed to take a dump.
Oh yeah,
to slip it under. Yeah,
that's a good point. Yeah,
that's good.
I thought the wording of that advantage was funny because it was like, "You now have power in this game. Give this to someone else immediately."
I
was like, okay.
I would just if that was on two lines, I would just rip off the bottom line that says "give it to somebody." Like, well, it says I have power in the game. I don't know what it means, but I have power. All right, well, let's go to old Siva camp. This is where Say is deciding to talk strategy with Joe for the first time. Then Say tells Eva that she's going to vote Mitch, but there's some worry about the block a vote and whether he's going to play it and how he's going to play it. Eva tells us in a confessional, look, it's either Mitch or Say. And I wrote in my notes, this whole scene was a bit of a nothing burger.
Yeah.
I was like, I said one thing I liked from it, Say had the whole "I'm the cat with 9 lives" line, because she's gone to tribal council so many times and somehow like always walked out with her torch still. But yeah, I didn't have a whole lot on this one, Nora. I don't know
as we were watching it, I was like, okay, this isn't really moving the needle very much in terms of the conversations. I was surprised that we didn't get amongst the Siva tribe anyone kind of thinking to target Joe or Eva.
Yeah.
Because you could blindside them because everybody thinks they're going Say.
Well, Joe had the necklace though.
Oh, that's true. Sorry, not Joe.
Everybody knows Eva has an idol.
Right, so she's not, but she wasn't expecting it.
You're right.
And they're all talking about how she is a big threat. And so I'm surprised Chrissy wasn't trying to get something going based on how she was talking later on at Tribal.
Yeah, I guess later on we get Chrissy and Star talking about maybe taking out Mitch. They see him as a strong competitor. And Say has this thing where she has confidence in Chrissy because of her voting history. Like she said what she was going to do. She was going to vote Bianca. She was going to vote Charity. She did. But yeah, obviously Mitch is talking with Joe about using the block vote. But let's get to the fun, like real, strategy part, I guess, of this episode. And that's back with the Purple Tribe. Shauhin learning that he's the decoy vote in order to get Cedric. Kyle and Camilla, they get a quick talk in. Kyle pitches, man, Shauhin, he's scary. He says, quote, "Can we manufacture a situation where Shauhin comes after us and then it's okay for us to defend ourselves?"
Loving this.
And they start formulating this plan to like, we got to come up with a lie. Maybe we get that lie to David. We get David on board. He's got a little power with the necklace. So the lie they tell him is Camilla telling David, Shauhin might have an idol. Rome, what do you think about this entire scene? Your thoughts on Kyle and Camilla as sort of a power duo that is hiding in secrecy, really, and ultimately them not going forward with this plan?
So I think it was more setting up for whatever's going to happen next episode, because we all know next episode is going to be just a straight up one person has immunity and 9 people are voting. So it's just going to be more of a cut and dry situation next week. So I think it's more setting up for something that'll happen next week, just because like it didn't really affect, like you said, it didn't affect the plan. Like, yeah, we knew that Shauhin was the decoy vote, but like nothing materialized from it. And like even the talk about it with Kyle talking about maybe going for Shauhin, it just didn't feel like that was really like had any legs to it, even when he was talking about it in confessionals. So yeah, it more just felt like it was just like just something else to throw people off a little bit. It didn't really ever feel like Shauhin was going home to me.
Yeah, but things to come with this one. We believe.
Absolutely
has to be, right?
I think Camilla has David in her sights and she's going to utilize him in any way possible. It does seem like, based on Next Time on Survivor, perhaps there's a little bit of blowback from whatever's going on. But I love the dynamic of Camilla and Kyle, as I call them, Kika. And I think they're a great duo. I am baffled as to how they've been able to maintain kind of like this low-key image, and nobody seems to get that they're working together. I hate every time they say, I can't believe how well things are going with us, because I'm so scared every time. Famous last words, but so far so good. I was really pleased that they are in great position still.
Well, I think Kyle in this episode says something like, I feel like when we talk, we have like 19 seconds to talk. So they probably are doing a very good job of rarely
being together,
going off into the jungle, and obviously sharing notes and formulating plans. Is like, how easy is it, Rome, to keep your eye sort of on everyone and who's partnering up and who's over here and who's talking? Is it easy or not?
I mean, like at the merge with 13 people, like it's very difficult. Like it's okay at sometimes, but then it's like, okay, you go on walks, so you see someone gone, you don't know if they're going on a walk, because like 13 people, there's more than one person going on walks at the same time. So it's like, like you don't know if people are going off talking or if they're just gone or whatever. It's like, so you don't want to get up and leave and go look, because then it's like, okay, if the people chilling here or whatever. So it's like, you just kind of got to keep your head on a swivel at any time, because there's always people talking. Like I remember one specific time that I remember that like really should have really tipped me off. The biggest tip that I should have had was when I was coming back from a walk and I was walking directly back to camp, and there was like a little half semicircle of people sitting down. And I remember I was walking up, and I remember Sierra was facing away from me, and she was facing away from me at the semicircle. She turned around, and when she turned back around, she turned back around really quickly to the circle, and then like everyone kind of got a little bit quieter, and like, you know what I'm saying? And so it's like, okay, like, like 2020 hindsight, like, okay, I probably should have realized that, what was going on in that
Right.
moment. So yeah, you definitely got to keep your head on a swivel. So your first time playing, it's pretty interesting. But if you ever play again, you definitely know what to look for.
Yeah, I bet. So as we go to commercial, the last commercial, really it's Cedric or Shauhin with the one group, and then it's Mitch or Say for the other group, and that's where we go to night 14, Tribal Council. We start with Orange. They go first. Joe talking about this idea of seeing the finish line. Do you start like looking ahead a couple steps and maybe the ending and who you want to sit with, all that. And then Chrissy goes on this, I guess, incredible rant about
I don't know,
no one winning this thing with actual honesty and loyalty, or at least not her.
right?
Rome, what'd you think of Chrissy, really leaning into like how she sort of sees how she has to play the game to win? You have your head in your hand.
Yeah, me too.
It's like certain things, like that you could say, you just should never say.
Right.
Like certain things you should never openly admit. Like, why would you openly be like? She even had to clarify. She was like, "Yeah, you got to backstab and lie. Not tonight. Not tonight." So it's like, okay, you're good for tonight, but tomorrow, when you're telling me one thing, there's no way I can believe you after what you just said at Tribal. Like, Chrissy, like, if you're gonna backstab and lie and do all that stuff, like, I understand, as the older woman archetype, like, she feels like if she makes it to the end, she needs to have some, like a resume, like she said, because she doesn't want to be a 0 vote finalist. We just saw Sue get to the end.
Yep.
Sue had an idol, but she didn't use it at all. Didn't really like have like a big agency like toward the game, like creating big moves, things like that. And so Chrissy is pretty much saying like, I need to have big moves, so if I get to the end, I have a chance to win. And I can respect that. I can respect the thought process. Just say it in a confessional. Don't say that at Tribal Council. Like, that is a wild, bold move, especially now that we know how much these other people want to play with honesty and integrity and not backstab. And like they said, if we can ride it out till the end with our loyal 5, then we'll be good to go. And we'll see if that ends up happening. I don't know, man. This whole season has been really, really interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I have my notes the exact same thing you said. This is a confessional here, Chrissy, not something you say unprompted at Tribal Council.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even if you're right and we all agree with you, of course you're right. Especially like for her, like she's saying, like, I'm going to have to win the game that way. But I think she's just fed up with all this honesty, integrity.
Yeah.
No backstabbing out here, everybody. I think she snapped a little bit.
Yeah. Also, like, Rome, correct me if I'm wrong, but none of us have sat through a Tribal Council. You have. Is it Jeff teasing it out of you? Like, this is sort of the stuff that Jeff is looking for, right? Like, he wants you to say stuff like this and cause, it's good TV, right? Watching somebody just sort of implode like that for no reason at all. I mean, how persuasive is Jeff when you're in tribal council? Like, how badly do you want to, I don't know, impress him or just have good answers for Jeff? Like,
I mean, it all depends on the person, like, right? Like someone like Genevieve on my season, she didn't give Jeff nothing to tribal council, right? Like she was like Jeff, like next person, essentially, like so and I don't blame her, it worked out for her, but me, if Jeff asked me a question, I'm gonna be straightforward. I went into each tribal that I went to with a plan and planning on being loyal to the people I was gonna be loyal to, so I didn't really I didn't really have too much to sit here and worry about when it came to my words at tribal specifically.
Right.
So that's why I was fine with sitting in Jeff's seat, because I was like, look, it's either going the way it's going to go, it's either going the way I want, or it's me. So I was like, hey, let's go out, let's have some fun, know? So yeah, it is what it is. So I had no worries out there whatsoever when it came to that. But there's definitely some people out there that are way more cagey, and Jeff knows what questions to ask. Like he knows, some people's buttons and things to talk about. Like let's say that we mess up in the challenge, right? Like I didn't get a piece on the puzzle, right? So obviously Jeff is going to go to me first, Rome, the puzzle, because I have a lot of thoughts and feelings about my puzzle performance compared to like someone else who might like beat around the bush and be like, no, Rome tried his best, it's okay. Like, no, like if I just ask Rome, he's going to give me a pretty good answer. So yeah, I think that Jeff knows who to ask and what questions to ask.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, back to them here. We have Mitch using his block a vote. He uses it on Say. She goes up there, sees it.
Yeah, she's pissed. I know. So would I.
And so we go down, we read the votes, and unfortunately, Say is gone. Unfortunately, I say, and I think I speak for all of us, a great character on this season.
Huge.
Obviously was on a tribe that continually lost and lost and lost, so therefore she was at tribal council a lot, but what a personality and what a character. Other people didn't like her. I mean, I see it here in the Survivor community. They're
she was polarizing.
I'm so happy she's gone.
Right.
And Rome,
Listen,
you probably know how that feels. It felt like you were polarizing.
I've been there. I've been there. I understand. Listen, if you are a polarizing character, you are going to get the love. You are going to get the hate. I got literally a cameo request right now, and it says, you were my girlfriend's absolute favorite, and you were my least favorite Survivor of all time.
Oh my God.
It's just how it works, So it's like it is what it is. There's people that are going to love you or people that hate you, but at the end of the day, if you made somebody feel something, that means that you're good TV, and when you're good TV, you get on TV again. So at the end of the day, I can't wait to see Say play again, man. It's gonna be an interesting time.
The only unfortunate part, in a weird way, she took it in stride.
She did.
She played
really.
it very chill. She was like, all right. You thought maybe she'd be quite explosive and like, oh, blah, blah, blah. But
sure.
not. Yeah.
I mean, we had said previously that sometimes Say can be really surprising. You have these expectations based on the edit that you're getting of her, that she is reactionary and she's going to have some kind of big eruption of emotion. But she took it totally in stride. She just said kind of goodbye and good luck.
Yeah.
And that was sort of it. I was shocked. But I think Say had some of the most iconic moments so far this season. Like that shot of her intercepting Charity for the advantage is hysterical. Her and Mary chasing each other through the jungle was so funny.
Yep.
Her and Cedric's dynamic was wacko. Like they provided a lot of content. I don't think this season so far would have been as entertaining without her.
Yeah, it just sucks that she's not on the jury. She would have been good jury reactions.
I agree.
Just without saying a word, just showing her reacting to people talking at tribal council would have been amazing. So that's unfortunate. But Say goes home, and then we have one more, obviously, tribal council here. It's the purple group. This one, I didn't write a lot of notes down. We talk about like this person's going to be the person on the jury and all that. And it's ultimately Cedric that is the one that goes home. So, I mean, I don't know. Is it fitting that in the same episode, Cedric and Say
get to go
Rome go home in the exact same episode? I can't believe it.
And Mary ends up being the last standing rule.
I know,
Mary. It is just absolute cinema. I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was interesting. It's obviously unfortunate the pattern that's been happening when it comes to double boots in the new era. It's like, is it coincidence? Does it just happen? Who knows? But it's unfortunate that Cedric and Say go home, and it just makes sense though. Like both of them were on the bottom, and so it's a weird situation where if Say would have been in the other group where she was guaranteed to be on the jury, I don't think she's going home because guess what? She's already on the jury. So like now you want to sit with her at the end.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And so that's the thing with a person like myself or Say, you know, it's like, okay, people want to get you out before the jury starts, but if you're able to make it to when the jury starts and people are essentially saying like it's a free win sitting next to you, if they think that, then they're going to try to take you to the end and work with you as long as you're going to try to be loyal. And I mean, Say, at the end of the day, people can say what they want. She has shown loyalty to the people that she's tried to be loyal to. It's just that people haven't trusted her fully and haven't been able to fully work with her because of their mistrust for her. But she's been trying to be trustworthy and make connections. So I just think it's a really interesting dichotomy that's going on with Say and this whole boot and everything going on with this episode. So,
well, that is the perfect segue in talking about Say going and missing out on the jury to get to tree mail. So let's do it, JD.
Whoops.
Because our first question is from Doug, who always comes through with great questions. Thanks to everybody that wrote them in for us, or more even specifically for Rome. And this one for you, Rome. I love this one. How much did players on season 47, your season, talk about making the jury? And how important is that to everyone?
A painful amount. Like it was like I'm sitting here wondering, like sometimes it's like, do y'all care about like you know what I'm saying? Like I'm trying to figure out like, okay, what is it y'all actually care about? You're just trying to actually make it as far as possible, like just so you can like put that notch in your belt, or you just try to like, you know, so it's like I don't know, man. I feel like certain people go out there for other reasons. So definitely on my season, there was a lot of people where, you know, it's their lifelong goal to play Survivor. You know, they've been playing it or watching it for years, sometimes decades.
Yep.
Me, I literally found out about the show a year before going out there. So that's why I was so cool with playing as aggressively as I did. And a lot of these people that were on my season just didn't want to play aggressively because it's their lifelong dream. They want to make the jury. You know, they talked about it a ton, like nonstop. And so it's like, even at the merge, it's like, okay, guys, like, yeah, 2 more people go home that aren't going to be on the jury. But and everyone's just sitting here talking about that. They're talking about like how much they're making, all this. I'm like, y'all are talking about the wrong thing right now. I'm like, man, like y'all are focusing on the wrong thing. Like I'm trying to have a fun game. Like who we voting out, but nobody want to talk about that. Yeah, it is what it is, man.
Because after you're voted out, you go to Ponderosa and you're there for a couple days and then they send you on a flight home. Is that right?
Yeah, I got voted out on a Friday and I was gone back home seeing my dogs on a Monday. So, you know, it was a really quick turnaround. Yeah, it was definitely wild because obviously you come home, you see your dogs, and it's like, you know, you want to be happy and things like that, but it's also like, I'm not supposed to be seeing you yet, you know? So it's like, because, you know, there's still people sleeping under the stars and bamboo and things like that. Like, it definitely sucks going home early. I ain't gonna lie. It definitely sucks going home early. So, you know,
I guess
you got to make sure it never happens again. You know?
I guess that's probably a huge part, of course, of making it for the jury. Like, you do get a say in who wins the game. Mm-hmm. I think that's sort of fun. Like having to vote for $1 million because you feel like more agency in
Your
it.
Survivor story isn't over yet.
And you just get to hang around in Fiji a lot
Absolutely.
longer.
Yeah,
sign me up.
And you get to compare notes as each person who gets voted out comes through the door at Ponderosa. Yeah. And it's like being at a party that keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
I mean... Yeah, I can. I
party
understand
that keeps getting more and more depressing as people who like their dreams are shattered. And they keep showing up. No,
well, they also used to show Ponderosa, right? Like there was those, you know, little vignettes that they would show, and I was like, I loved those. I loved watching them. I love, you know, and seeing each person come through the door and just even like right down to what the first thing they eat and you know, first like crack of beer.
I would have loved for them to record it because, like, I remember, like, I came down the steps and, you know what I'm saying? Like, at this little table, everyone's waiting for you. You know, TK, Annika, Asia, Keyshawn, John Lovett, they're all there, right? So I'm like, all right, like, here we go. First thing that I hear when I'm walking toward them is Asia saying, "About time," and I'm like, wow. So I'm like, that's my response coming to Pondy, like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, word, like, there's gonna be a little bit of bitterness here, but you know what I'm saying? It was cool with me. So I got to sit there and tell everybody what happened. You know, you give them the rundown. You pretty much say what happened. You know, it's obviously like you sit down and everyone's like, all right, so what happened? You know what I'm saying? And you're like, and first thing I say is, well, you know, we woke up and then the boat came and said, drop your buffs, and everyone, oh, like, you know, they barely didn't make that part. So it's just like, yeah, it's definitely an interesting thing when everyone's sitting there talking and recapping what happened. So,
I will say, I think it was Shauhin at one of the tribal councils. Correct me if I'm wrong. He did talk about like, I think we're like thinking maybe too much about like who's gonna be on the jury or who's not, like the first person. Like I sort of like was agreeing with that. I thought like I get it, but that's maybe overthinking things, and like it's just survive another day, and
Right.
obviously then get your ducks in a row. Was it him?
It may have been him.
Yeah,
I can't remember
I think it was.
exactly now.
Okay, next one here. Graphic Mark. I had a question last season about players changing up their handwriting each tribal council, and it actually happened with Say this season. So this question is for Rome. Could you distinguish each player's handwriting, and do you think you can use it as a strategy? So we sort of alluded to this, but what do you think, Rome?
So essentially, you know, for me at least, you know, you can't really tell whose handwriting is whose at first, you know, like until Genevieve told me she was a lawyer, like I didn't know to look for perfect handwriting, you know, so it's like you don't know whose vote is who, but sometimes you can tell by the spelling, or by like symbols, like a heart, you know, things like that. Sometimes people will do that. Like with me, I spelled Keyshawn's name like how my cousin spells it, because that's how I know how to spell Keyshawn. So I spelled it Keyshhawn, right? So it's like you can kind of tell, like, okay, that's probably Rome's book. You know? So sometimes you can tell just by how people spell it and things like that. But most of the time, you can't tell until like you've been to tribal council with them like a few times. So yeah.
And I love this idea that you can't ask people out there on the island how to spell their name.
It makes me
me laugh so much.
They should just have a board with everybody's name up as like this is our home, and everyone is named
on their
there.
buff, maybe individual buffs. Or
it's
something.
so chaotic seeing how everybody wrote Cedric. I was like, whoa, what is going on?
So many different ways. I was surprised I didn't see it with an S at one point. I
would be screwed. I am a notorious person when I meet someone for the first time and I hear a name that I find unique. I legit immediately go, how do you spell that?
Yeah.
It helps me remember the name. I can log it a bit better. I'm going to be screwed if I ever do that.
Oh, you're target number one.
Yeah,
it's like, how do you spell your name?
Why do you need to know how my name is spelled?
No, I'm going to say first.
What are you trying to say?
All right, let's all spell our names in the sand. Let's just get it out there.
Hey guys,
so
fun activity. Hear me out.
Yeah. All right, next one here from Kevin. David seemed to have an endearing start to the game with his goofier energy and constant milk talk, but the last few episodes have seemed to shift towards his cockier, slightly villainous side. And then Kevin asks, what are the best heel turns in Survivor history? I'm not as interested in answering that specific part of the question as much as I am, Rome, in this idea of the edit. Getting to pick and choose whether, like, you're a hero, you're a villain, however they sort of want to present you, they can. And then obviously the blowback from some people like that get out there and like, oh, what? That's what you took from my time out there? I gave you so much more. Like, I assume that happens. I don't know if it happened for you specifically or if you felt pretty good how you were like editing.
Yeah, no, it definitely happened for me. Like I had a huge villain edit. Like I had a 30-second montage of 5 days worth of like 3-second clips of different times throughout the day where I was talking about myself mashed together. I'm like, yo, like this is insane. Like this is the first time in Survivor history they've made fishing look villainous. I've never seen providing for your tribe. Regardless if I gave you 1 fish or 4, I gave you a fish you wasn't gonna have. So like, what are we complaining about? Like it's not villainous. Like what are we doing? So yeah, and then like, you know, I get my secret scene of me fishing and, you know, everyone's saying, you know, like, thank you, Rome, like this is awesome, like this is my best day out here so far. And I'm sitting here like, why didn't you put that in the episode? Like everyone's sitting here like, you know, seeing me as you know, praising me on my tribe and stuff like that. It's like, no, like all that was cut out, but at least it was put in a secret scene so that people can know that like, hey, Rome isn't just this super villainous dude. Like it was kind of, you know, it was kind of just, you know, had to be that way because I was out there doing a lot and there wasn't a lot else going on in the pre-break.
Yeah. Well, and what do you think specifically about David here? Do you think it is pivoting to a little bit more of like maybe he's starting to get hungry? Maybe the milk
withdrawal is kicking in.
Yeah, exactly.
He said a few things this episode that I kind of was like, what does that mean? He said he wants a strong person to win this season of Survivor.
No, I have an idea what that means.
That's the other thing. Let's just cut this out there. Like David has done nothing villainous on the show. He's literally tried to have an alliance, stick to that alliance, be loyal to that alliance, and he's essentially saying like, okay, like I'm ready for like a challenge beast to win the season. Like I'm ready for one of these big strong guys. When's the last time a big strong guy's won a season of Survivor, right? Like so, like, you know, he's only seen a few seasons, right? Like he's seen 42 with Jonathan Young and Marianne and things like that. So like, you know, he's like, okay, when like Jonathan Young got far, but he didn't win. Like when are we gonna have one of the big guys win? Like when, you know, and so why is this more frowned upon than if someone were to say, hey, let's have an all women's alliance or whatever, you know, let's do the Black Widow V2, you know, like that gets so much praise whenever people bring that up potentially, but then it's like David sitting here saying like, hey, let's go with the macho people, let's try to get to the end, and everyone's like not on board with it. Like, he's
Well,
done
I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
I'll tell you why.
don't
Because
like it.
99% of people watching the
not.
show do not look like David.
Yeah.
And they can, like, at least put themselves in the shoes of someone who could strategize or, like,
It's
form a
also
sneaky alliance. I think
so
that's what.
boring if Captain America wins this. Like, that is not interesting to me if he wins this. And I do want a little bit more strategy from him, which he hasn't really given a ton of. And I think we're probably going to get to see a little bit more. But I don't know if he is going to have agency over the strategy that he's involved in, because it does seem like he's being used as a chess piece a little bit by someone.
But this is the thing. He doesn't have to. He wore the necklace. He did
Yeah.
not technically have to strategize. He just had to hear the plans and go with the best one. That's really all he had to do. So yes, he wasn't a focal point of the plan, but that's one of the issues with, like, you know, with the individual immunity necklace, in my opinion, is that, like, you know, if you have the necklace, you essentially don't have to play. You can just chill back and
Yeah.
go with the majority vote, and you're good to go. As long as it sounds good and you're voting out somebody that's not in your main alliance like they did, then he's good with it. He doesn't need to strategize or plan that much. So
Yeah,
you
I
know.
mean, ultimately, I mean, he does say, I held the power, so I basically decide the vote. He didn't say it in so many words, but while we were watching the episode, I thought, okay, this guy's getting manipulated by Camilla and Kyle,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You know, but I think at the end of the day, it went the way David wanted it to go, because I think he probably put the kibosh on it, right? Like, he, as you say, Rome, he was holding the power. This particular episode, I mean, who's to say if he? I mean, obviously the guy's a beast at physical challenges, but is he good at puzzles? I mean, I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, hard to say. He did help in that one puzzle challenge where he was doing it with a Camilla, I think.
Yeah.
So he may,
Yeah.
I mean, whatever. It's still to be seen. The way that they edited the next time on Survivor does seem like something is amiss, that
Yes,
he
yeah.
is feeling some type of way about something. Perhaps he gets wind that, shares what he thinks about Shauhin, and then there's some blowback from that.
Sure.
I don't know.
Yeah, it could be. I like, a lot of people right now don't think this season's been all that entertaining.
Really?
Yeah. A lot of that.
I've seen the discourse online. I thought that was pretty interesting, and you know, it's unfortunate because, like, obviously, like, you see, like, a lot of these people that are having disdain for it. I feel like a lot of the people that are saying it's boring are more the people that aren't fans of, like, the macho alliance, as you
That's
will.
what I think. That's what I think. So I think what's going on here is David, Joe, Eva, you know, Shauhin, I don't know where he sort of falls into this.
He's
And then
kinda in
Kyle's
it.
sort of in and out on it too. Like, these super strong players.
Right.
I think there's something fascinating to them going, like Rome was saying, hey, we never win this game anymore.
Right.
We never do. But there's enough of us out here that we could try and stay together and
Yeah.
obviously keep winning challenges and maybe just pick off everybody else.
Right.
But yeah, like, so you say, well, maybe that's not all that exciting. I think it would get very exciting if they actually went through on the plan, it sort of worked, and, like, then they have to turn on each other.
Right.
And then it's
Yeah.
like, well, now we have all the superstar players when it comes to physical challenges. Well, now who has the chops amongst those 5, 6, whatever,
Sure.
to actually really play Survivor? I think that's sort of it.
I mean, there's a good chance that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Based on what the remaining players are saying and doing. I mean, the lack of what they're saying or doing about targeting these people. I do think seeing Joe and David up there just absolutely ripped gods, killing that grip challenge.
Yeah.
It's a huge target on both of them. There was already a target on both of them,
Yeah.
but I don't know if they're just going to be challenge beasts and continue to win.
Yeah, I mean, like, well, Rome, you know, there's, like, these are different challenges. It's not all just pure strength and endurance. Like, yeah, there's puzzles, there's, like, touch when it comes to, like, whatever, balancing balls
Right,
on
right.
sticks and doing all those crazy things that some people are just randomly good at. Like, I think Shauhin is, and Kyle, and even Mitch, like, that type of stuff, they could even be better, and probably Eva too, better than maybe even Joe and David. But we'll see. Anyway, I'm enjoying this season so far.
I
think
am
it's-
too.
I
I think it's
quite
great.
different, which I sort of like.
Yeah, exactly.
A few more questions here. Zachary, every new era season has had a 0 vote finalist. Who is your pick to be that person this season? I'm going with Chrissy. Rome, do you have a 0 vote finalist prediction if you had to pick somebody?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Star. Just based off
Wow.
literally what her confessional was today. She said, all these bozos are worried about making the jury. I'm worried about getting to the final 3. And I'm like, okay, final 3. Like, not winning, but final three. Maybe that's like just predicting you to get to the end. And I don't see Chrissy getting there anymore after her little tribal council outburst, saying that she gonna lie and backstab everybody, because that's not how you get to the end, is announcing that, Chrissy. So I don't think Chrissy's gonna be the 0 vote finalist anymore, because I don't think she's gonna make it there because of literally what she said at tribal council.
Okay, so you got
if she does, props to her. But I truly think that little speech essentially buried her game chances to get to the end.
Yeah,
I
why'd
think-
they include it?
I think
Yeah.
the fact that she named Joe and David also in that kind of little moment at tribal council was a big issue.
Yeah.
It's one thing to say, what's all this talk about honesty and loyalty? That's not how you play Survivor, and that's not how you're going to play it. That's vague, and everybody agrees with that on some level.
Yeah.
But she actually referenced Joe and David, and they immediately cut to, I think, Joe's reaction, where he kind of was like, what? She's like talking about me? He won't like that,
Yeah.
and he will remember that. So I kind of align with Rome on this. I also think it could be Star at the end as a 0 vote. We haven't got a ton of her. I do love when we do get her and she gets a confessional, and she's usually really funny and entertaining
yeah.
and so likable, but she doesn't have real allies. Like, she doesn't have anyone who's a touchstone for her right now. That's a little concerning, and I don't think people see her as a threat per se.
That's the biggest thing.
So I could see her continuing.
But I'll stump for Star a little bit. She did refer to the $1 million as her $1 million
I love it.
in this episode. So that is a winner mentality. Also, if she makes it to the top 3 and Joe and David are sitting on the and Eva say on the jury, that's 3 votes right there. She gave Eva her immunity. And these guys are all about honor and integrity and all that stuff. So I don't think she's a 0 vote, but
We will
that's my
see.
opinion.
Do you think she's getting there?
Yeah, great question.
I could see it.
I could see it.
I can see it a lot.
If it's a Camilla and a Kyle maybe taking Star because they don't perceive her as a threat, maybe
yeah.
Okay.
that's a scenario.
Okay, Doug writes in another one from Doug. This is good. If Rome were to bequeath the honor of sitting in Jeff's seat at Tribal Council to one player from this season, who would he be? Who would it be? Excuse me. Rome. Who would get a chance to go play Jeff Probst for 2 minutes?
I'd give it to Chrissy, man. Let Chrissy have it.
Wow.
You seem like she had some more to say, man. She ain't had a lot of confessionals yet. You know what I'm saying? She's been the most purpled on the season so far. Let her rip, man. Let her talk to
Let her
David
cook.
and let him know about this lack of lying and this honesty and this integrity. It's like, no, this is Survivor. Let Chrissy go ahead and talk to him one time. Let her go ahead and talk to him.
Okay. Do you guys have a different answer? Would you pick anyone else?
I mean, Shauhin has been so funny.
Shaheen's funny,
And
yeah.
he's a great public speaker, so I think he would be great in that seat. I also think Mary is very funny.
Yes.
And she's super dry, so I would love to see her sarcastic and whatever her POV would be up there.
I was just reminded that we saw more Jeff dancing last night.
Oh, yeah,
doing
they
more
love
Club
it.
Condo.
Tango.
Doing this little tango talk.
Tango. thing.
He was,
This guy loves moving.
can't be stopped.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna second Mary. She's a therapist. She can bring stuff out of you.
Ooh, right,
Yeah.
right.
She knows how to read people.
Really peel back the
Okay,
layers.
okay.
Look, these are all great answers. All right, we got another fun question here to then get into specific questions for Rome. This was from KFW. I didn't put it in the doc, Rome, because I wanted you to hear it for the first time. Hey, Rome, do you really think you could have made it to the NBA?
Hey, listen, man. Listen, did y'all see the Instagram clip that I put up? You know what I'm saying, on my story? You know what I'm saying? I don't know if y'all saw it. You know,
I didn't,
but
actually, no.
That's all I'm saying is, you know what I'm saying? I didn't have the height, but I had the speed, and the shot was there. Okay. So
Okay.
listen, I had aspirations. Like I said, I had NBA aspirations on the show. Okay, just like any other young person.
Yeah,
that's
so did
playing
I.
Including
sports.
skates.
Yeah,
Including
exactly.
skates.
Yeah.
We get it.
Exactly. Everyone had NBA aspirations or NFL aspirations.
Yep.
If you play mini football, whatever, even in 4th, 5th grade, everyone has aspirations to do it professionally in the moment. So yeah, like me saying I had NBA aspirations to go to the NBA. It's not crazy, but it was edited and it made it sound a little bit
It was
wild.
so good.
Yeah,
was
it
so
is what
good.
it is.
Okay, we got to know. I know a lot of people have been wondering this. Did you get in trouble with CBS about the boot list situation, which we talked about a lot on No Buffs? I mean,
Right.
Nora was all over it. She was all over your ass, man. She was breaking it down.
All right.
Yeah.
Here
so,
we are.
so what? And maybe explain it for someone new that has no idea what we're talking about. Just like briefly, what the heck happened?
Okay, so pretty much in my exit press, right?
Yeah.
During the word association, right? You're supposed to, go ahead and with Gordon Holmes, you're supposed to go ahead and give a word for each of the contestants on your season and what you thought about them and things like that. And so, I had always watched his interviews, and like I couldn't stand when people would take forever to think of a word. I'm like, bro, you're wasting 4 minutes of the interview thinking of a word for each person. I'm like, it's insane. So I'm like, nah, forget that. I'm just gonna go ahead and make sure that I've got the word that I want to use for each person good to go.
Okay.
I completely didn't even realize that it was in a crazy, messed up, twist, flipped around backwards. Not even the right order, but it was close enough to where people were able to put like 2 + 9 = 11 together and figure things out. And it was unfortunate, but it's one of those wild situations where it was a complete accident. And no, I didn't get in trouble with CBS. Like I talked to CBS and like immediately I talked about it before it was even like, a big story and things like that. Like I made sure to call them because I was like, man, like I'm already in the process for playing again with season 50. And so it's like, what I'm saying? So it's like, I'm not trying to sit here and, have this mess up. And they were like, listen, we understand it was an accident. Like also the other thing is that a lot of people don't realize is like, it's not just you and the interviewer on the call during an exit interview. Like it's you, the interviewer, and someone from CBS who's supposed to catch all the stuff that, needs to get edited out and things like that.
Yeah.
Right.
So the fact that none of us realized what it was in the moment, it was just kind of a mishap on everyone's half. So obviously when I talked to CBS, I was like, man, like, do I come out here and do I tweet a bunch of things? Like I didn't mean to guys like that. And they were like, listen, literally just don't worry about it. Just leave it alone. It is what it is. I say, just move on. It is what it is. Like, don't worry about it. What all these people are saying. So that's pretty much what I did. I kept my head down. No, I didn't get in trouble with CBS. Things like that. So no, I'm not blacklisted. No,
okay.
like all these things that people want to say about me. Like, no, it was a complete accident, and they understand that, and hopefully everyone else can. Like, if anyone actually watches the clip, like they'll clearly realize like I didn't do anything on purpose. Like I love Survivor. I would never do anything malicious towards it. Like this is my favorite show of all time at this point. Like I want to be the next host. You really think I'd do something malicious towards you? Like, come on, get out of here with that.
Okay.
So it's like anyone that's in here and thinks that I would do that, I think they're just hating to hate at that point.
Okay.
So it is what it is.
Well, you slipped it in there, this idea of playing again, potentially. I assume you're talking about Survivor 50. What can you tell us about that, and where do we stand right now with that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna be on it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
okay. It was unfortunate, but yeah, I'm not gonna be on it officially. So I got the word I don't even know, was it like a week and a half ago, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was an unfortunate day. But it's just wild because, like I said, it's been such a mental process. Like people have no idea. Like the casting process to get on Survivor is one thing, and then like imagine coming home from your season, not knowing how you're going to get edited, and then before your season even airs, you get a call to play again. It's like, wait, what? I haven't even seen my season yet. So it's like getting a call already. It's like, wow, now I have essentially 8 months to prep again. So I immediately started doing push-ups, pull-ups, everything for the last 8 months prepping. And for it to just end up being a no just definitely hurts a lot.
So what did they do? Just cast a super wide net, obviously, to then see who is interested, whittle it down.
I mean, I don't know exactly the specifics. I just know that I got cut and it's unfortunate. So, what I'm saying? I don't know exactly who got called, who might be out there, things like that. But yeah, it's just definitely an unfortunate situation. I don't know, it was weird because in a way I felt like I'm kind of opening up a little bit, but I felt like I couldn't really fully enjoy my season. I felt like I couldn't tweet the way that I wanted to, I felt like I couldn't get as aggressive as one second. Hold on, give me 1 second.
We can still hear you, okay? So you're good there.
Yeah, but I kind of wanted to make sure that that everything was good to go. I knew that I couldn't I didn't want to tweet in a certain way or things like that, as wild as Mary is, I'd be out there tweeting the same way that Mary's out here tweeting, but I just felt like I couldn't have as much fun and enjoy it as much just because I felt like I was always on pins and needles going through the process again. But it's definitely worth it. I'd go through the process again. It's worth the headache, as you would say, because I love Survivor, and I'd play again in a heartbeat. It's so much fun. I told the producers right after I got voted out, I'm like, man, I'd play again tomorrow. I wouldn't even care. I love this game. So much fun.
One worry Survivor fans have about returnee seasons is this idea of pre-gaming and the shenanigans that happen there. Was this something that was going on, and people are trying to reach out. Hey, are you in the mix? Hey, what are we gonna do?
Oh my gosh, let me tell you, man, pre-gaming is insane. Like I'll say it because like I ain't gonna be out there. Like it's crazy, man. Like it's kind of funny because like it's funny. Like I'm friends with more Survivor legends and big characters on Survivor than on my cast, like by far.
Right.
Like there's just been so many big characters and legends in the past that reach out to other big characters and legends because they know there might be a chance that, you know, you might end up playing on the season together in the future. So it's like, you know, let's get on good terms here and there. So it's definitely interesting when, you know, you get these old school players that, you know, were in the first 9-10 seasons sitting here calling you and being like, what's up, young buck? How you doing, man? I enjoy you out there. You know, I don't call a lot of people, but, you know, I decided to call you because, you know, you're definitely a big character. It's like, okay, I know why you calling me, man. Like, I know what
These people are never not playing Survivor in a weird way. They're always thinking of the next Survivor chance. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it never stops, man. It never stops, honestly. But it's definitely funny, honestly. It's funny, the whole pre-gaming, everything, like it's gonna be funny. So I'm excited to see if any of the pre-game shenanigans end up coming into play.
We'll see how
either way, man. It's gonna be a great season. Season 50 is gonna be awesome. The fans get to vote on things. Like, you know, it would have been crazy to be out there and then just find out like, oh, no Final Four fire making, cool. What we doing instead? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it definitely would have been fun to be able to adapt and things like that. But you know, it is what it is. You know, just gotta wait till next time. But like, it's so crazy because obviously Carolyn and, you know, Jesse obviously came out as well. You know, they got cut. It's just like so many big characters and from the new era that aren't going to be out there. It's going to be definitely unfortunate. But, you know, I'm sure that, you know, we'll see all these faces again on your TVs at some point.
I definitely was seeing the tweets that day, like you said, whether it was a week ago or 10 days ago, like
people saying
all the people that are like, well, didn't make it.
Yeah. And I have no doubt we'll see you again, Rome. I think you're a big personality. And I think regardless of any negative stuff you've got, you were a huge part of that season and super entertaining. And as you can see in, you know, just talking to you today, you're very engaging. So I think you're definitely going to be back.
Oh my God, Rome, you won over Nora.
Yeah, it takes a lot.
There we go.
I mean, I said it. You know? I said it last season when you went home. He's coming back.
Yeah,
this is not the last we see of Rome.
That's right. That's right. I guess my final question, just with like moving forward of Survivor seasons, is there something you want to see like in the next phase after 50? You know, whatever, 51.
Oh, I got 60? A whole list. I got you. Do you want a list?
Give me like a top 3. Yeah. Like, yeah.
List actually happens. I don't want to hear nothing. Okay, but like. All right, so for 51, I don't want to hear nothing, okay? For 51, I want to see fans versus favorites. Okay. For 52, I want to see USA versus Canada. For 53, I want heroes versus villains 2. Yep. For 54, I want New Era All-Stars. For 55, I want Golden Survivor, so 55 plus only Survivor. Which kind of is going to be like a run it back at Survivor 50. It sounds like. But anyway, you know, we got 55 plus Survivor. Then we got Blood vs. Water 3 for 56. Second Chances 2 for 57. A First Boot season for 58. A Generation season for 59. So all kids 18 plus of former survivors. So like, you know, by then, like I think maybe Boston Rob's oldest daughter would be able to play. So like people like that, you know, like Generations I think would be an awesome one, right? Yep. Get Sandra's daughter out there, things like that. Yep. Cerie's son, all those people, you know, things like that. I think that would be fun. And then Winners at War 2 for 60, because I think there's a lot of winners that would be awesome to see play again that it feels like might not ever get a chance to play again unless there is another winter season. So like, you know, I think that Winners at War 2 for 60 would be cool. So that's my 51 through 60 wish list.
Damn, print it off and send it in. There you go. That is solid. We're set for the next.
I'm in on all of them except for First Boots.
You don't like First Boots?
I don't know.
What?
I don't know.
Jalinsky, like John Lovett.
John
Lovett. Love it. I would love to see again.
That's 3.
I mean, we've got Zane. Like, we could really sit here and dig deep. Like, we've got some people, man.
Okay.
Telling you.
All right, that's great. Great list there. I'm glad we got into that. Anything for us, Rome? I know, you know, we took our shots at you from time to time. I think all in good fun. I think you can obviously, you wanted to come on, so I could tell you can take things in stride. But any cues for us?
Yeah, so I got 5 questions, okay? And like I said, like you, 4 of them are on the dock. So you know what I'm saying? I'm going to hit you with the last prize, all right? So I want to ask each of you, which pre-jury format did you enjoy more, 47 or 48? Now, granted, we had the extra episode, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it wasn't a double tribal. But which pre-jury format did you like more? with a double boot versus a non-double boot.
So last year, like, refresh my memory with last year.
With mine, it was Tiana. It was a split tribal council.
Yeah.
That was when it was going to be Rachel, but then Saul found the advantage, gave it to Rachel, and so it was no longer Rachel. They had to scramble, and then it was Tiana.
But everybody had immunity though, right? Like more than
everyone
half.
on the winning side had immunity.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
So nobody on the winning half went home.
Yeah, me personally, I found that unnecessarily cruel to go get to the merge. You were in the merge. They all got their buffs, and then divide them all. Give more than half of them immunity, and then Tiana. You don't get to be on the jury. That seemed. I remember talking about that on the show and just being like, it's just kind of mean. And we don't know next week if the next person is going to be. No. We already know that the jury is. Yeah. So we're fine. We're fine. So I think I prefer this. I'm getting soft in my old age, Rome. Like I like to see people suffer to a point.
Am I crazy, or did you guys do a schoolyard pick?
Yeah. We did a schoolyard pick. Did they do one for this Mergatory?
I
don't think so.
I don't think so. I don't think it was.
How did they pick the teams then?
I think it was
Marbles?
random.
It was rocks.
It was rocks.
Yeah.
Okay.
So just random.
So there is that. That's a different wrinkle.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess. Yeah, I think I didn't mind. I loved your point about how was there nothing hidden at the feast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the ability to then give that, because that really changes the game and makes things way more exciting. So I would have loved to seen that at least in this one. Do you have an opinion?
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, you guys have kind of said kind of my same point of view on it. I do wonder if something was there and they didn't find it. Perhaps it was under the large loaf of bread that they were cutting through.
Maybe David ate it.
Usually if there is something, they'll zoom in on it and show you that there was something. Like even when after Say played her idol and Mary and Say were looking for it, they passed the idol. People don't even I feel like people didn't talk about that. They zoomed in on the new idol.
Right.
So they did rehide an idol. So they'll at least zoom in on it.
Yeah.
So I don't think there was anything there, honestly.
Yeah. Okay. And what about you? Do you have a preference? I mean, obviously, maybe you're biased.
I mean, the one I didn't go home on. I definitely would have liked the 48 format probably a little bit, a little bit better. Just because when I don't know. Also, it's like when half the people are safe, like it gives those half like a little bit more freedom to like play the game, but also it's like they are safe, so they feel like some of them don't have to play the game. So it's like only the big characters really go out there and put their neck out there. So it's like, I don't really know. It's kind of a toss-up either way. This is why it was a question for you guys. You
got us thinking. That's a good question. What
all
else
right,
you got?
and my next question for you all is, who do you hope wins this season? Not who do you think. Who do you hope wins this season?
Is anybody changing from their prediction winner?
I mean, I'm locked in on Kyle.
You're Kyle.
I
You're Team
really
Kyle.
want Kyle. Will he win? Hard to say.
I think he could.
I think there's a potential.
Yeah.
I still really like the duo of him and Camilla, so I would love to see the two of them sitting there. I do really love Shauhin, but I think he's way too big of a threat, so I don't think he'll make it unless some magical things happen in the next couple of weeks. But I think he is very much on everyone's radar. But those are my top three.
Those are your top three that you're rooting for. What about you, JD? Camilla, obviously.
Camilla was my pick, sight unseen. She's Canadian. I always pick the Canadian. I am so happy with this particular Canadian. I love watching her. I think she's great. And I think she's going to go far.
You like this Canadian more than Genevieve? Ooh. Well, that's tough.
You loved Genevieve.
Of course I love Genevieve.
Yeah.
Camilla's definitely scheming more.
Yeah.
So far.
Yeah. Well, see, Genevieve was a little bit of a disappointment. I mean, just in a good way. Like her conscience got the best of her, right? Like she just basically stopped playing, which I was like, come on. Genevieve.
I hope right now what's happening with my pick, my preseason pick, Joe, is the exact opposite what happened to Genevieve.
Ooh.
So Genevieve, she was scheming, she was playing, and then
she was playing hard.
Literally the connections she made, she started to have a bit of a conscience about it, and then was like maybe take a step back and almost sort of derailed her game a little bit.
Totally.
Or I want the opposite to happen with Joe.
Yeah.
The fireman, all about loyalty, honesty, blah, blah, blah. I'll be the father figure. I got you, girl. And then I want the heel turn.
Yeah.
I want it to snap in his head like,
what am I doing?
this is for $1 million for my kids.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
It's only going to happen after Eva gets voted out.
Maybe.
That's his origin
That's his
story.
origin story.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I got Camilla.
There are.
Okay.
I mean, to answer, like, there are a lot of people right now that I would be pumped to see win. Like, I do, like Mary.
Mary, of course, yeah.
Sure.
I do love Star. I don't think it's likely, but I every time she's given a pump up speech to
I love her.
Cedric or to Mitch, like, I love it. It gets me going. Like, gets me emotional. I don't think she's gonna win, but I don't think David's gonna win. I don't know where I want. Probably not Chrissy. My pick is Joe though.
Still,
My
so
pick
that's
is
your
Joe.
winner pick from the beginning as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And I think it is
Nice.
in the recent run of Survivor a very unique in that way winner, going almost back to more old school.
Yep.
But I also want him to like turn.
Right.
And I want him to like really own it. Yeah.
Yeah. And Rome, who are
Okay,
you
okay.
hoping?
Yeah. Who are you picking? Or want?
I'm pulling for David, man. That's what I'm pulling
Okay,
for.
damn, all right.
Uh,
I met the guy, in person, got to hang out with him. Got to just really chill and hang out with him, talk to him, have a good conversation, and like he's just been good people's like ever since he got back from his season. We connected and we just been talking. And he's just a really down to earth dude. So yeah, I'm pulling for him, man. Like he's definitely a person that I'm pulling for. Also Camilla, I think like a Camilla win would be awesome. So I'd probably say like David and Camilla are the people I'm pulling for the most.
Okay.
Great.
Yep.
Rome, do you
and then,
also
all right,
like
so my
milk?
next question for you all is why aren't you all booked on the Survivor cruise this summer?
What?
There's a cruise?
I don't do cruises,
The
Rome.
cruise. You guys don't know what the cruise with me, Carolyn, Yam, like all these people. You haven't heard about it. We're all going
What
on a cruise.
happens?
Me,
Yeah,
what the
Andrew,
hell
happens
Tony.
on the cruise?
What happens on this?
Pitch it to me. Tell me why I need
so
to
it's
go.
going to be absolutely awesome. First of all, let me get into my commentator voice.
Oh God, what have I done?
Royal Caribbean. Okay, it's going to be absolutely incredible. We're going to be out on the Lido deck partying. We're going to have games. We're going to be playing, a mini traders game, things like that on the ship with all the fans and things like that coming on. There's going to be gifts given out to certain fans that win prizes. We're going to have trivia. We're going to have meet and greets. We're going to have all these things. You're going to be able to hang out with all the survivors. You're going to be able to, get us to talk to you with all about the tea. Anything that you want to know, we can talk about it on the ship. Because what happens on the ship stays on the ship.
International waters.
International waters.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you want to
wow.
go on the cruise with me and a bunch of other Survivor legends, man, go ahead and go to postgamecruise.com and get your guys
What a
cruise.
plug.
Okay, so
Look at
you guys
that.
need to go ahead and do that as well. Okay.
When is it?
Yeah. When is it?
It is July 17th. That's when it sets sail. so
okay, a
it is
couple
going to be.
months.
Yeah, it's going to be literally like a few days after a certain big thing ends. So it'll be it'll
Okay.
be pretty interesting.
Got it.
So,
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
How many days out there on these?
it's going to be 5. I believe it's going to be 4 or 5. So yeah, but it's going to be a good
Wow.
time though for sure.
Jeez.
Have you been on a cruise before, Rome?
Yeah, I've been on 5. Been on 5.
Oh,
cruises,
so you're a
actually.
cruise person.
Cruise connoisseur.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a cruise connoisseur. It's funny, like, I actually have a whole cruise YouTube channel that, like, Survivor fans somehow never found. I don't exactly know how.
Oh,
You do?
a cruise tube, if you will.
Yeah, you could YouTube Couple of the Seas. You could see me and my fiance go on there. Like, I got my whole proposal video on there, like everything. I've done the whole YouTube thing. Like, yeah.
Wow.
So it's pretty cool. So yeah, you guys can check that out if you want. See a different side of Rome. See like Rome without an edit. See things like that. Yeah, I did a lot of vlogging for our cruises. So yeah,
that's cool.
That's amazing.
All right.
And nobody, you don't think, Survivor Reddit or anybody found it, eh?
Yeah, I thought it was wild. I'm like, man, like y'all find everything, but y'all didn't find a whole channel with me having like 100 upload videos about cruise content, like me going on a cruise, having a great time on excursions, like chilling in Mexico at the bar, like having a great time. Yeah, I got videos of all that. So yeah, it's definitely fun for sure.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
Any other questions? I mean, that's a great one to end on.
Yeah. Okay. So my final question, I want each of you to answer this.
Okay.
Which season up to this point are you enjoying more, season 47 or 48?
Oh,
Through
40
the pre-jury.
47.
Okay.
And in all honesty, I'm not saying that because you're on here. I was saying to you last night, I was
Yeah.
like, this is a slow season.
A little more tedious.
Now, look, did I bawl my eyes out with the Joe and Eva thing?
Sure.
Hell yeah. Like I said, did I get pumped every time Star was given something? Do I'm like rooting for Mitch? Like, there are people that like I'm invested in.
Yeah.
Invested heavily, and I want to see them do well because I like them. But I think in terms of Survivor gameplay, strategy, in addition to the characters and stuff like that, I think 47 right now, right at this point, is where I would have it.
48 seems slightly more serious. I feel like 47 had a silliness and a lightness to it in the beginning in particular that was pretty fun. I don't know if I can say one was preferred over the other. Also, I have a terrible memory, but I do remember laughing a lot in the beginning of 47. So maybe I would lean that way too.
Okay.
Yeah, 47 is a little wilder, and it feels like the sketches of what 48 ended up being, like the stupid sash that Jeff made them wear, you know, and they changed that to a sword and scabbard, which was cooler, you know what I mean? And the scavenger hunt that you had to go on, Rome, Gabe allowing the box to tumble down, like it seemed more reckless, you know? So in that case, and you, Rome, as well, like you were so fun to watch. And so, yeah, I'm saying pre-merge, I'm going 47 as well. But I feel like 48 is going to have a more emotional payoff.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, like, I feel like 48 is shaping up to have a better post merge, and I feel like 47 probably had the better pre merge up to this point. But I feel like with the big characters and like the potential clashes that are coming up, like I think 48 is gonna have a really good ending to a season. I could see a lot of exciting things happening in this season. So yeah, I think we might have them in the pre merge, but I think they might get us in the post merge. We just gotta wait and see though.
We gotta wait and see, and with that, we'll wrap it up. Next time on Survivor, though, we do have it appears to be, I think somebody says David is losing his mind.
Yeah.
He's walking around in his underwear like he's Agent Philip Shepard. That's a callback. Joe and Kyle are concerned that maybe David is going to cause a rift between them, and then Chrissy seems to want to target Joe, and David wants to target Camilla. So yeah, maybe a lot more starts happening here as we like really get into the individual.
It's getting a little
game.
spicy.
I think it's going to. I think you're right, Rome. I think the back end of this season is going to be some fireworks here, because there are some obviously people that we're pulling for, but there's some smart ass players out there too.
Oh, absolutely.
And I can't wait to see them try and outmaneuver each other. But let's call it. Who do you think's going home next week? Rome, because we always do our make your picks Survivor pool. Oh, this is never easy, but if you had to,
that caught me off guard. I'm gonna go with something crazy.
Okay,
I'm gonna go with Eva.
Whoa.
I think Eva and Joe are just too close. I feel like at this point, when they get back to camp, whoever wins immunity, they're gonna get back to camp and be like, okay, so we know a guaranteed pair they're voting together every time the rest of the game, right? Like at this point, we know that. Like I don't think they're ever gonna vote separately the whole game, right? Like so it's like you gotta split them up at some point, and it's like, are you gonna go for Joe or are you gonna go for Eva and try to blindside her and flush the idol? Like that's probably what the best game plan is to go for the person with power, because everyone knows Eva has an idol, right?
Yeah.
And like she didn't play it at this last tribal. She could have went home. She didn't play it. Like so she felt safe enough. Like we didn't even talk about the idol really this episode, so it really shows that like it's kind of a non-factor. So I could see like just the same way we're forgetting about it, her forgetting to play it and going home.
I love the juxtaposition between Joe and Eva's relationship being completely out in the open, how tight they are, and how like joined at the hip they are, compared to Camilla and Kyle,
so secretive,
who are doing everything they possibly can to be like, do not talk long, do not let this out that we are like a duo here. So yeah, it's sort of cool. So
it's completely different, because on 47, it's like if you saw a duo, like you got to target it immediately, right? Like even like the rumor duo, like in Sam and Sierra, you know what I'm saying? Like everyone was like, we got to target one of them, you know what I'm saying? So even after, once the jury hit, like they targeted Sam and Sierra, split the votes on them, and Sierra went home. Like, so it's like people see a duo. Some seasons they're fine with it, some seasons they're not. So it just all depends. So
okay, and who do you got going home?
I do think there's a reason they showed Chrissy's kind of speech about honesty and loyalty at that tribal, and I think that will potentially come back to haunt her next week. Okay, so I would say Chrissy.
And JD, take us home.
Yeah, I'm going to swerve. I think it's Eva too, but I'm going to swerve and say Mitch, just because he seems to be on the bottom. He seems to be Joe, of all people, seems to be targeting him a little bit. So I'll say Mitch.
Okay. All right. I love it. Let's hear from everybody in the live tribe on YouTube right now. Call your shot. Who's going home? Rome, can't thank you enough, man, for jumping on. This was a blast. Not only talking about this episode, but like getting the behind the scenes of your season out there. It's so much fun for us. Oh yeah, we geek out.
I had an absolute blast, man. Thank you guys for having me. Like this was like awesome. There's few podcasts that I plan on going on, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, you could probably count them on one hand, but this is definitely one that I wanted to pop in on, because you guys are absolutely awesome in what you guys do, and I appreciate you guys, man, from the bottom of my heart. So till next time, I guess. And
what's the best way for people to follow you and
follow me on Twitter, on Instagram at Rome the Host, absolutely anywhere. Also, if you need a cameo, you need someone to shout out your favorite family member for a birthday, a holiday, a celebration, you need to break up with somebody, let them down, you need to give someone an ultimatum criticism or a threat, don't worry, I got you. Cameo.com/Rom the host. Okay, I got cheap cameos. I don't charge a lot, and I'm gonna go ahead and put my heart into every single video. Okay, so make sure you go ahead and get yourself a cameo.
All right.
Okay.
And if we don't see Rome on Cameo, we'll see him on the cruise.
That's right.
Until next time, the tribe has spoken. Take care, everyone. Sweet.
That was a good time.
Oh, thanks, man. That was a blast.
Oh yeah, no, that was definitely fun, man. I definitely had some fun. You guys are great, man.
Oh.
Sorry if I talked over you a couple times. My bad. It was a couple times we started talking at the same time.
I thought the connection was pretty good.
Yeah.
Sometimes we get like